That's what I'm talking about.
Wait! Okay, now, from the beginning.
Hi, Liz Mercuri.
Hi, Will Goldstone.
What on earth are we doing here?
That's a very good question, and let me tell you. So we're here for Unity live at GDC. So if you can't make it to GDC, do not worry. We are going to bring GDC to you. And actually, we've got so much cool stuff going on at GDC this week. We kicked off yesterday with the keynote, which was super exciting. I mean, did you think?
It was quite a big keynote.
Yeah.
There was a lot. I feel like we're almost spoiling people too much.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
But that's what we do here.
Yeah. What was your favourite part?
I mean, there was so much good stuff, right? It's really hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah.
Like, Book of the Dead looks insane.
It does.
Like, the scriptable render pipeline is just going to be a total game changer.
It's a great pun. Tell me more.
But I do have a favorite.
Yeah.
And so for any of you that were watching the live stream and you saw the reveal of the Universal Game Dev Challenge, and you want to know more, do not worry, we are going to be speaking to Chris from Universal on tomorrow's show, so you can get all the information that you need to get started and submit.
If you had to do it, I'm going to ask you, which of the four would you pick?
You know
I'd say
which
no.
one I would pick. Selfishly, if you are like, do you know what? Maybe I should make a Jaws game. Make a Jaws game. I would love.
Is this because you haven't played a Jaws game since 1990?
It was Jaws Unleashed, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it was.
On the...
Enough about my
Okay,
Jaws
fine.
obsession, but we can talk about that. That's another show.
Yeah. So we're talking to Chris from Universal tomorrow.
Yeah, we are. I'm really
on the
excited
show,
about that.
We'll hear more about that. But we've got a great lineup of guests today, and that's what we're doing right now. We've got members from Oculus, from Magic Leap, and some from Unity as well. So without further ado, we're going to be right back with our first guest. Next up on Unity Live at GDC, we're talking the Oculus Start program. And we are back at Unity Live at GDC. Kasey, Galang, thank you for being here from Oculus.
Thanks for having me.
What are you here to tell us about? Oculus Start, right?
Yes, absolutely. So
what is that?
back in January, we launched Oculus Start for all of the developer community who are currently really just getting a leap start into VR. They're created their app, and now they're looking for the next success, whether it's an update to their app or their next project. We want to help them through access, so we're giving them hardware. We want to give them support, so it's direct support with my team. And then we also want to give them savings. So with partners like Unity, we've bonded together and really tried to help the developer community.
Cool. So if I'm someone who's working on an app in Unity today and I need some help kind of accelerating things, what kind of thing, or how do I kind of reach out to Oculus to get that support?
Yeah, so it's an application program. You just reach out through our website at developer.oculus.com. And we actually just lifted the limitations of that. So
Cool.
previously it was teams of 2 or less could apply. Now it's teams of 10. So each individual from the team can come through and apply, and each person will get all of the benefits that come with the program.
Okay. And if I'm someone who's watching right now and doesn't actually know too much about development with Oculus, like they have an idea for a game, what's the best way for them to get started?
That's a really great question. There are many ways to get started. One way is to put on your Unity hat and go to the Unity site and learn all about VR through that mechanism. Once you're ready and feel like, yes, I have VR 101 captured, then you go to the Oculus developer site and we help you get started targeting our platform. So all of the things that come with that, from the social pieces with our platform SDK, all the way to which devices you want to target, whether it's the Rift or the upcoming Go. All of those are that information is on our developer center.
Super cool.
So let's talk more about the nitty gritty then.
Yeah.
So you offer support and also sort of dev kits,
Yeah.
right? So was this informed by community, because there's so many Oculus developers, right? So
Yeah, absolutely.
what's the finer details of what Start offers?
Yeah, so I joined Oculus about 1.5 years ago, and over the course of that 1.5 years, we were really putting our ear to the community. What do you want? What do you need from us in order to help you up-level your next project or this existing project? And what we heard over and over again was, we really need access to dev kits. We really want that direct support. So if I have a development snag, who can I ask and how do we do that? And so we've scaled through the forums and through a contact queue. This was that one leap forward to say, all of you have access to our team. Come ask us questions. So kind of welcoming more of the community in to ask questions of us. And then the savings part is developer happiness is super important to us, obviously. And part of that work is to understand what makes happiness. We looked at the way that we think about it is basically an equation. So it's revenue plus potential revenue minus expenses, and that equates to what we think as developer happiness. The potential revenue component is all the great stuff that we're doing to increase the market size, right? So with the launch of standalone category and more hardware and really making it VR more attainable to the masses, that's the effort that we're making towards the potential revenue. Our team, from a developer experiences perspective, is like, how can we reduce those expenses? And the program is geared directly at that.
That's fantastic. And is the program annual? Do you have an intake of developers annually? Or?
Yes, so intake's happening every day, ongoing, and then once you come in, we set your sort of clock to a year. But that doesn't mean after a year you're out and you're into the wild. You could reapply and join again.
So have you already had, is this quite new, or have you already had like some people coming in who you're excited about? Like,
yeah, it's super new. So we just started accepting applications in January. So I can't say that I have permission from the folks to talk explicitly about who they are, but like, so for instance, because we just lifted the boundaries or limitations around how many can apply, we accepted a team out of Munich. They're a team of 4, and they're doing some super cool stuff with in living room play. So one person's in headset, and then the other folks are in on the gamepad, and they're using the monitor and doing multiplayer stuff. It's such fun stuff is coming out of here.
Cool.
Award winners, and yeah, it's cool. It's exciting. We'll make sure that you all hear about them.
Yeah, and obviously we're here at GDC, and you guys are here at GDC. And if you are at GDC, where can people go to find Oculus?
Yeah, so at VRDC we have office hours, and so that is our team. We're going to hopefully meet a bunch of the START members and the rest of the developer community, have them come in and ask us any questions from concept all the way through to how do I distribute my app, and then promote it and update it. And then we also have a booth. Massive booth where folks can get in and do some demos and have a first look at some of our hardware.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Well, Kasey, thank you so much for joining
thanks
us.
for
This has
having
been fun.
me. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next on Unity Live at GDC, it's Magic Leap. And we are back at Unity Live at GDC. Caraeff, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
From Magic Leap. Finally, you're here to tell us all about Magic Leap.
Yes.
So, I mean, you've just announced Magic Leap 1 late last year. You're here at GDC. Obviously, you saw some of the collaboration between us and yourself at our keynote yesterday. What's this journey been like? Obviously, it's been a long time coming. Everyone's really excited about Magic Leap. How's it been for you?
Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you. And first of all, thank you again for having me. It's been a wild ride. There's no doubt. But when you're trying to figure out what comes next, how do we give everybody on the planet superpowers? How do we kind of activate your inner 10-year-old? How do we make you feel like you have X-ray vision? And that you're just smarter about the world and more connected to your friends and family. For us, it's about kind of reinventing computing by making it more personal. Right? Okay. It's not about something in my pocket or something on my desk. It's about kind of amplifying the human spirit, or just generally, seamlessly making the human condition amplified through computing. So for us, we call that spatial computing. It's about really how we seamlessly and persistently integrate the physical world, the digital world, all into a new place that's your new real world.
Okay, so you're kind of taking things beyond what people would refer to as like augmented reality, that kind of realm of things, into spatial computing.
Yeah, it's really about context, and it's about kind of the unimpeachable presence of the analog and physical world, right? It's not about trying to disconnect or divorce you from the world. It's about bringing you closer to the world, making you the atoms, right, that surround you, really enhanced by the power of bits in the digital world. So I want to be closer to my friends and family. I want to be more productive at work. I want to be smarter about the world. I want to be more entertained. I want to be more informed, right? I don't want to be disconnected. I want to be connected. But I want to take the digital world and the physical world and seamlessly and persistently integrate them. So we call that spatial computing.
So I am someone who wants all of those things that you just said because they sound awesome. So, like, how do I get started with Magic Leap? Like, if I'm a Unity developer, like all of the people who are probably watching this right now, what's the first step?
Yeah, again, a great question. This week we've launched our creator portal, creator.magicleap.com, which is really all about how you can begin your journey as a creator. You know, as a Unity developer, we've got the perfect road for you. You can download the technical preview of our SDK and our tools. You can access Magic Leap optimized versions of Unity. You can get access to a lot of tutorials, documentation, learning resources, community support forums, really just the largest kind of collection of information about how to build for Magic Leap and what is Magic Leap that we've ever released.
Cool.
And so you're here at GDC. So where can we find you? Where can our developers come and find you and talk more about this?
Right. I think the best path is to get registered as a developer at our creator portal. We have a lot of folks around at GDC with Magic Leap pins that they're wearing. And we are meeting with developers and partners, and we are working to kind of show them what's possible as we work to ship and come to market this year in 2018.
Cool. So if someone sees a Magic Leap person around with a pin on, they should tackle them and ask them all of these difficult questions that I'm not allowed to ask you, right?
I wouldn't go so far as to say that, but
in a non-physical way, metaphorically,
in a nice way.
Yeah.
I think for us, it's about we've had our heads down for so long trying to make this real, to make Magic Leap 1 Creator Edition come to market. That now is the time we're turning to face our customer, and we're turning to embrace the developer community. And it's hard to do that all at once, right? So for us, it's about stages, phases, one turn at a time. And so this week is a big turn for us with the launch of our creator portal and our presence at GDC. We have nearly 100 folks here this week.
Cool.
And what's the next step from the developer portal? So, the community will just smash the content out the park. Like, what's next? They have apps. Where can they publish those apps? Where do they go next?
Yeah, I mean, what's next is we'll be rolling out our hardware, Magic Leap 1, later this year, with a focus on creators and developers. For us, a developer is, of course, a creator. But a creator ultimately doesn't have to be a developer. So it's really that broad envelope of creativity of anybody who wants to kind of put their fingerprints on the world. And as a part of that, we're announcing Magic Leap World, which is really our marketplace for basically spatial computing experiences. For anybody who wants to discover, access, try, commercialize, sell, distribute. It's the kind of end-to-end place for all of that inside of Magic Leap.
That's fantastic.
That's really cool. And I think what I found really interesting about that is this. It's kind of similar, and we've seen these kind of things in the past with VR to some extent, but with spatial computing, like this idea that nobody really knows what the best experiences are yet. So there's like this huge opportunity space. Like, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. It's human nature to kind of project the past into the future, right? But and so that's completely normal and understandable. We did that with radio, we did that with television, we did that with the early days of the web. And only when you start to realize that and think about, what could I do here that I could never have done before, on any prior computing platform in any prior way? What can I do, when I start to think about, anything I can ever imagine can be real. It's not a function of being, bound to a screen or trapped,
In a space.
In a space. It's
Yeah.
about kind of amplifying your physical space, enhancing your analog physical world, and then connecting you to that world through a seamless and persistent integration of the digital world into the physical world. So, that's really exciting to me, and it's a brand new space. So we're really just about we're at that dawn, of something new, and it's all about tools and inspiration and support for developers and creators.
Cool. So if someone out there is eager to get started, they've got an idea, or they think something that they've seen some of your promotional material. Is there an easy path from Unity into Magic Leap? How does that work?
Yeah, so through the Creator Portal, we have getting started guides for Unity and Magic Leap with our Lumen SDK.
Okay.
And so it's very easy. Anybody can download Unity this week, download our SDK. Anybody on the planet, can begin their journey and
Cool.
start. We have what we call Magic Leap Remote and Simulator,
Cool.
which is essentially a way to start essentially approximating and previewing, essentially ideation and to start without having the hardware, being able to get a sense of what can I do and how does this work and what are the concepts that I need to understand. How do I start figuring this out?
Yep.
Essentially, it's a precursor, right, to having hardware. There's no replacement for what the hardware experience is, but it's really about getting started on the journey. It's not about completing it.
Cool. And so is that remote like an app, or how does it work?
Yeah, it's a Mac and Windows application that installs with our package manager and our SDK,
Okay.
And it integrates with Unity.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So if people want to get started, they're going to
They go to
creator.magicleap.com.
That's right, our creator portal. It'll be on our homepage, magicleap.com, or creator.magicleap.com, and they'll be able to register and become a developer, become a creator, and start their journey right there.
Sweet.
This
Rio,
week. Yes.
thank you for coming in. Really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
A pleasure.
It's
I
really
can't wait to
exciting.
see what people create.
Yeah,
Yes.
super cool.
On Unity. Yes. Yes. Thank you.
On Unity.
Thank you.
Coming up next, it's Unity and Augmented Reality. Stay tuned. And we are back at Unity Live at GDC. Bradley, Brittany,
Hi.
from Unity. I know you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Hey, how you doing?
Thanks
Hey,
a lot.
Brittany.
Hi. Familiar faces. Hello.
So, augmented reality. What on earth is that?
Well,
Let's
good
start with square
question.
one.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if we have time to get into that right now, but
No,
there's sure.
I'm kind of kidding.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on with AR, augmented reality. I know all the lingo. So there's a lot going on right now. Obviously, we announced some big things back in Unite Austin last year with AR Kit, AR Core. What's the kind of latest stuff going on with AR, across the whole gamut?
So the last entire year has actually been really exciting. We've seen HoloLens development, stay strong, and the community continue to grow, and we actually power over 90% of the apps for HoloLens on the Windows Store.
Cool.
We saw Vuforia get a built-in integration in Unity, so developers can access that, more easily. And if you saw the keynote, which
I did.
hope you saw the keynote. So we saw Magic Leap, the Magic Leap announcement. So actually, developers will be able to build to their spatial computing platform.
Yeah.
And another thing that we're really excited about with AR is that within this last year, it's now come to handheld devices. So now it's AR-enabled devices are in the hands of millions of people who have these devices. So Apple released their own AR development platform called AR Kit. Google released their own development platform called AR Core. And so this is something where now, by the end of this year, it's projected that 1 billion devices will be AR-enabled. So something that we're also really excited about as we're talking about what's new and exciting with AR is that we are kind of solving one of the biggest problems that are facing AR developers right now, which is this idea of this fragmented platform ecosystem,
Right, yeah.
where right now, before we came out with our multi-platform AR, as a developer, you had to build once for AR or for AR Kit devices, for Apple devices, and then build your app again so that it would work across the applicable Android devices. But with this multi-platform AR, you're now able to build once and deployable across both platforms, which is saving you the time and the headache of having to rebuild for each platform. So that's another thing that we're really excited about this year.
So is that, sorry, go.
No, sorry. So where can our development community get started with that? So if they say, hey, this AR stuff looks cool, like how do they get started? Where's 101?
Well, I mean, I think the first thing is to just download Unity. So if you're already a Unity developer, I recommend, updating to the latest version of Unity and grabbing what we have, heading to the website and figuring all that out. Or if you're new to Unity, just pick it up and start learning. We've got, a lot of resources right there to kind of get you going.
But for all those people who are watching who already got an idea of some kind and they want to decide whether maybe this is good for AR or maybe it's something where it can add like an AR component to it, like what do they do?
Right. So I mean, you're right. There are the kind of the two options right now. You can develop like a purpose-built sort of AR application, and that's an interesting thing to do and has its own challenges. Or you can you can take your existing application on the App Store, on the Play Store, and you can actually add an AR component. So we're seeing a lot of interesting things like this Guns of Boom, where they've added, it's a really popular kind of FPS mobile game, and they've added sort of a spectator mode, so people can turn on AR functionality and sort of cruise around the map.
Oh, cool.
That's really cool.
Like a giant kind of tabletop thing.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly. Or there's the CSR Racing too, where people when they trick out their cars, they can go and look at their car in their driveway and open the door and have a peek
like full
inside.
size?
Yeah, full size.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Mm-hmm. So like I said, like if someone is watching and they are wondering about getting into AR, what are the main things they're going to come up against? Like what are the big challenges that people have? Thanks.
So I already referenced one of them, being the fragmented platform ecosystem, but we've identified 3 big challenges that are facing AR developers. So another one is that there's the lack of expert knowledge out there. The technology is so new and it's changing so quickly that it's really hard to nail down some of the best practices. And also because it's so new, some of the best AR experiences out there are kind of proof of concepts, or they've been kind of hacked together in a way that you might not want to replicate or even be able to replicate if you wanted to.
Right.
So something that we're really committed to doing is helping AR developers get started quickly and to develop great experiences so that we have a whole variety of learning resources for our developers. We have different third-party courses like XR boot camps that you can take to learn how to get started. If you've never used Unity, we have resources for you. But then also if you just want to learn how to do Unity for AR, we have even every Tuesday one of our Evangelists does Unity Tip Tuesdays where he's talking about specifically how to overcome AR challenges. We have a whole host of different learning resources because we want to help provide the best practices to help our developers get started quickly and to make some of the most amazing AR experiences.
And I think actually like the biggest help there is actually the community.
Yeah.
Right. We're all even at Unity. We're all figuring this out together, right? And so there's thousands of developers. You're trying something new, pass it around, share knowledge, and like we can all, there's so many exciting things we've got to figure out in terms of product design challenges. And we might as well all figure that out together. And Brittany mentioned a couple of other interesting problems as well.
Yeah.
And Unity's kind of working hard to solve these. One would be, the sort of the performance restrictions. We've seen this with VR. We see it with AR as well. These devices are awesome, but the constraints that you have in terms of how you have to render things, it's a lot of strain on the device.
Yeah,
basically.
it's demanding, right?
Exactly. So the more we can do on our end to optimize performance so that you can get more high quality content into your app, the better. And then the other thing is, just the fragmentation that Brittany brought up earlier with the multi-platform AR.
Yeah.
That's how we're solving it.
Okay.
And so if we have, until we get to the point where we have billions and billions of devices, you want to make sure that you can hit as many devices as possible.
Yeah.
And so we're working to make that as easy as possible.
Okay, cool. And obviously, Unity, we're here at GDC. Like, if someone wants to come and talk to one of us about AR, like, where should they go?
Well, there's a lot of places. You can go to the Mix, you can go to the Zeta Lounge,
Yeah.
Come by the office. We're actually, we had a full XR day, but we've got a lot of XR developers here and a lot of enthusiasts who'll be able to answer any question you might have.
Super cool. Brad, Brittany, thank you for coming on.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thanks, Liz.
Next on Unity Live at GDC, we're talking Windows mixed reality.
Hello and welcome back to Unity Live at GDC. We're joined by Jaime from Microsoft Windows Mixed Reality. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
It's
Hey,
great
welcome.
to have
Hey,
you
well,
here.
yes.
So Jaime, tell us, what is Windows Mixed Reality?
Yep. So Windows Mixed Reality is the term that Microsoft uses for that continuum of experiences that we have, from physical experiences, which is usually augmented reality, all the way to virtual reality, where you have an occluded headset and you cannot see anything. You're transported somewhere else. So with Microsoft, we have one platform that you use to develop applications across that whole span. And that's what we call Windows Mixed Reality. So it's just our version of the term. Anybody can call it XR, virtual reality, augmented reality, everything is in there.
And so obviously with that platform, you've got, and we've seen quite a lot of headsets from a whole bunch of different manufacturers. So it's really a broad platform, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So what we've done from Microsoft was, you probably heard of HoloLens. We launched our platform, mixed reality platform, probably 2.5 years ago. And that's been going great. It's, right on track. We're tracking commercial scenarios. But last fall in October, we actually introduced our virtual reality headsets, which are our mixed reality headsets. And I actually have a trailer for that we can show you in a minute. But we just launched them in October, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about, how easy it is to target those immersive headsets from within Unity.
And so what kind of experiences are people making? Like,
yeah, that's where the trailer comes in. You can
Well,
see
let's have a look.
Fantastic.
Let's have a
Let's
look at it
take
right
a
now.
look at the trailer.
So hopefully that gives you a good idea. It's an immersive headset. It's an occluded headset like everybody else's. Where we differentiate a little bit is the setup is super easy.
Okay.
You don't need lighthouses. You don't need anything. You plug in your HDMI and USB port onto your computer, and you're ready to go.
That was the bit that really stuck out for me from the trailer, was like, no lighthouses. So I recently set up the Vive stuff at home and all that kind of thing, and I'm like, yeah, it's kind of laborious and painful. And the idea of having like some accurate controllers is pretty appealing.
Yeah, the controllers are very accurate, and we use, again, inside-out tracking, so you can walk around. You're still tethered. There is a cable, but you can walk around without lighthouses, and we track the controllers even behind your head, everywhere else. So,
It's pretty cool.
yeah, that's actually, it's quite cool that we have. Like, for us, we're very excited about it. It's technology that's been proven because we launched it with HoloLens several years ago, so we know how well it works.
Cool.
And so for developers who maybe have developed an application for the Rift or Gear VR, how easy is it then to take that experience to Windows Mixed Reality?
Well, obviously, it varies on the experience, right?
Yeah.
But for the most part, if you're developing with Unity, it's super easy, right? You just come in. Usually you can keep your controller code depending on what you have. If you want to, if for example you have a video experiences where you're showing the controllers, then you just need to replace the model, or actually call onto the APIs that give you the right model, so you can render the right model. If you're using hands or something like that, you don't even have to replace that. You can just continue to use OpenXR or Unity APIs to track our controllers, and everything is seamless. For the most part, with Unity, because it's so portable, you don't have to do a lot of replacement. You have to do very little tweaks. There's a lot of areas where you can do a little bit more. For example, we have this environment, which is our kind of our home, where the user keeps all their apps. We call that the Cliff House.
Cool.
And there's optimizations you can do, for example, nice 3D launchers. Instead of just application icons, you get a really nice 3D model. You can animate it. You can do really interesting things with it, so that people remember where it's at. And you can actually place it kind of as a decoration in your Cliff House. So, for example, your application's icon can be a live character that's sitting right here on the table, or it can be a TV or something that kind of decorates your house.
So it's nicer than just having, I've got this lovely house, and then there's just a bunch of panels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yep. So yeah, it's very simple. To go back to your question, we see anything from, we have porting labs where people come in and in 4 days they're like completely ported. to some people that said, okay, we have a lot of custom or native plugins or things that need to be ported a little bit more, and those can take weeks or up to a month. But it's very easy. With Unity, as you know, porting across platforms is too easy. So that's why we're here to talk to developers, make sure they're aware of our platform, and make sure that if they have a Unity experience, they actually look into it, seeing if they can port it. We have our own store, so our own digital store, which is the Windows Store, which is used by all Windows developers. So there's hundreds of millions of people there. So if anybody's out there and if you launch on Steam and you're not getting discovered, this is a pretty easy place for you to launch an application where you have a much higher visibility just because there's less apps. We're just, our store just launched last October. So, cool. Right now we have less apps than Steam or anybody else would have.
Cool. So obviously you're here at GDC. If people want to come and talk to you about Windows Mixed Reality, where are they going to go?
Yep. So Microsoft has a booth, and I'm going to butcher where where the expo floor is. We're actually going to be outside. We have a booth right there. There's Microsoft people everywhere, so so we have way too many meetings. Yeah. It's usually interesting how we don't always have a booth, but there's so many Microsoft people at GDC. But this year we have a booth right outside of the expo. It will say Microsoft, and there will be people from all technologies, Visual Studio, Azure, and Windows Mixed Reality there. So if you get there and you talk to somebody from Visual Studio, just ask, because there's people from all of our teams there. So.
Cool. So I think that some people will probably want to actually experience some of these headsets, because a lot of people have probably tried, some of the competitors. Have you got some of those on the booth they could try out?
Yep. Yeah, we have them at the booth, and we also with Unity tomorrow at your offices. I know we'll have office hours. I think most of the afternoon from 1 to 5, so people can come in there and experience them, talk to developers, get all the tips, hear about some of the resources that we have. And
if you're not lucky enough to be here at GDC, what kind of online resources do you have?
Perfect. So we have two things that I want to highlight today. aka.ms/iwantmr, all lowercase. So that's a URL.
Okay, run that by me one more time.
aka.ms/iwantmr.
Got it.
Okay.
So that's the, aka.ms is our URL shortener. And then I want MR is where where developers the part of developers need to remember it. And that's where people go in there. As a developer, you can go in there and just say, hey, I have this application already. They ask you a few questions, so kind of you profile yourself, and you nominate yourself to get a headset and get all sorts of resources from there. We have a program there that people
So you just
can
apply
send.
for them?
Yeah, you apply for it. You enter your personal information. You enter information about your app, and then you hear back from somebody at Microsoft that says, hey, we would like to send you a headset. We would like to onboard you into the program, and then from there you get tips. You get a monthly newsletter. You get somebody, or you get resources available for to support you if you have questions where you're saying, hey, I'm trying to do this, or my application does this thing that's very specific. How could I port this? You will have actually live people who can actually answer your questions.
Oh, so you got a bunch of support engineers in there helping out. Amazing.
Yep.
Cool.
And so you get a lot of resources from there. And then after that, depending on where your application's in, we contact you and say, hey, we would like, you're going to go to the store now, as you're getting ready, we would like to promote you this way. Sometimes you can be spotlight in our store, or we have other ways that we can promote the experiences there.
Super cool.
So that's one. If you have an experience, apply there. aka.ms/iwantmr. You also obviously documentation. We have good developer docs. You have good developer docs. We have our own developer docs, and we collaborate with you with Unity to make sure that the developer docs are current. So if you want to just learn a little bit about getting started, we also have other documents. For that one, aka.ms/winmr Unity port. So one word, no spaces, no all lowercase, nothing in there. WinMR Unity port. It's a little bit longer, but if you go to aka.ms/iwantmr, from there you'll get the email that tells you to go to the Unity porting guide anyway. So,
awesome.
So that's a good way to get started.
Cool.
Sounds
Awesome.
great.
Jaime.
Great potential.
Yep.
Thank you so much, man.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
being
me.
on the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you around the show.
Yep. Bye.
Up next on Unity Live at GDC, we're talking Unity Connect challenges.
Hello, and welcome back to Unity Live at GDC. Will and I are joined by Nathan from Unity Connect and Maciej, the winner of the Unity Connect challenge. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Hello. Hey, congrats on winning. That's super great. So Nathan, tell us a little bit more about the Neon Challenge.
Yeah, for sure. So last year, we released a lot of really new features that were really friendly for artists and designers. So one of the things that we wanted to do for Connect is launch a contest to see what people would be able to create using these new tools, including Cinema Machine, Timeline, and the post-processing stack, and the asset store. So we launched a Neon Challenge, which is essentially a real-time environment contest to see what people from the community would be able to create. So last year, we launched it in December. We had over 460 submissions from creators from across the globe. Some of them modelers, designers, VR developers, really anybody in the development space. And so we had a lot of really awesome submissions where we're able to see people produce really futuristic scenes that were representing what they thought the future could be. So it was a really great contest. And we had a lot of community engagement. People were really excited to see what they could produce using Unity in terms of like a cyberpunk or futuristic scene.
Yeah, so obviously we're taking a look at some of those right now, and what I really love about these submissions is they really are quite broad. You know, there's everything from kind of photorealistic to sort of semi-stylized things. And, you know, I think that if I was to look at these and just, you know, purely see a lot of, you know, Blade Runner-esque things, that would be cool. But then some of this other stuff that we're seeing that's really quite different and not just in the cyberpunk realm, I think was what was really exciting for me. And how did you go about like picking a winner? Obviously, there's a lot of cool stuff here.
It was a really difficult process. Like you mentioned, since most contests, it's either like a 3D art contest or a game design contest. This is let anybody who wanted to create something, since you could use the asset store, you could build your own models. So it was a really difficult process. But at the end of the day, we were really looking for who was able to capture a really gorgeous, visually stunning cinematic experience using all of our new tools, whether you made your own models or used the assets or did both in conjunction. But yeah, it was definitely a really tough process. There were a lot of really great submissions, but at the end of the day, it was that final product that you were able to produce, that really stunning cinematic that really was the factor let us essentially choose who would be able to win.
Cool. And so when you first saw Maciej's submission, how did you feel about it?
Yeah, so the main requirements in the contest was to produce a cinematic scene with the new tools. But his particular submission was really interesting since he integrated some gameplay elements, some similar to sort of like XCOM, like strategy game elements, and nobody else in the contest really integrated gameplay elements within their submission. And it wasn't a requirement, but it was a really interesting way of being able to use Cinema Machine for a part of the gameplay within your submission. So, and overall, it was just visually stunning and really cohesive. It felt really it melded assets from the asset store and his own models, and it just looked really, really good.
So let's actually take a look at the full clip of your submission.
So Maciej, your submission is called In Humankind.
Yeah, that's good.
That's fantastic. So we're going to take a little look at the video. So Maciej, how did you go around creating this sort of visual style and this aesthetic? What went into this? I mean, it looks incredible.
So I'm really passionate about retro-futuristic aesthetics, I would say. And I also like these dense, foggy atmospheres. And I think that this is something I would call my visual style right now.
Yeah.
So that was an obvious choice for me, right? And yeah, that's that, I think.
So is this something like, obviously there's elements of XCOM, there's elements of like, you've got like speech, dialogue trees and things going on here as well. Like what, Nathan mentioned gameplay obviously, like what is the gameplay, and are you actually going to take this on and expand upon it?
Yeah, that's the plan. That's kind of like my dream game. Okay. My background is AAA development, and after finishing the first Witcher game, I had this idea of creating my own solo project, and I thought that it would be super cool to actually take this opportunity, the Neon Challenge, to have a deadline for something that resembles a prototype. So I didn't want to create just a simple scene or animation. I just wanted to have gameplay elements and to create something more like a target movie.
Okay, cool. So what can you actually do in the gameplay? Like, what did you? How far did you get with your prototype?
So I'm actually working on a playable prototype at the moment.
Cool.
And also using Timeline for different gameplay-related stuff right now, like action points, interest points, and in-game cutscenes that will not break or interrupt gameplay.
Yeah.
The game itself is I can say that it's a mix of tactical combat, survival game, and a story-driven game. So I hope it's going to be quite unique.
Cool. And how can people follow that? Like, how can they find you?
I've just started a blog, so it's www.thinkhardgames.com. So so you can go and check it out. And I'm on Unity Connect, so that's I will be posting there too.
Cool. So you're going to be like blogging the whole.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What were the benefits for you as a developer from entering the contest?
So first of all, I got a huge positive feedback. I think that if I would, if a lot of people would say that looks like trash, I would probably start over or scrap it. But now I'm really motivated, and I will actually pursue it, right? Continue to develop it.
That's amazing.
Cool.
So Nathan, what's next? Is there going to be more opportunities like this? Is there going to be more great submissions?
Yeah, what's the next Neon challenge?
Yeah, definitely. So after seeing the results of this first contest, we're definitely looking to ramp up the number of contests that we launched on Unity Connect. So we're working on 2 contests right now. And the first one we've been working with is Will Wright, and it's a 3D art challenge. And we can actually play the video, so let's take a look.
I'm Will Wright, game designer, responsible for many games you might be familiar with, including SimCity, The Sims, and Spore. The new game I'm working on is called Proxy, a game of self-discovery, where we actually uncover memories from your past. To do this, we partnered with Unity to announce a contest to find an artist that can help us bring this to life, to manifest these memories in a cool and unique way. You can enter this contest at Unity Connect, and to that artist, and I know you're out there, I look forward to meeting you.
That's really cool. So you can just win a chance to work on a game with Will Wright.
Yeah, so Will Wright reached out to us, and he's been talking about this game that he's been wanting to produce. So as you know, he created Sims, SimCity, and Spore.
Yeah,
and the idea with this game, he essentially is envisioning it as a simulation game made up of your own memories. So if you think of Sims, imagine a world like Sims, except it's really composed of the memories that are most meaningful to you. And maybe I have these set of memories, and I interact with somebody else with a different set of memories. And the idea with the game and this contest is he's looking for a 3D artist to be able to produce these examples of these memories, whether it's your first kiss, your first time riding a bike, and really trying to build this game world made up of memories from everyone. So a really social and intimate experience simulation game.
So it's a really good opportunity to kind of sculpt the whole art direction of that project.
Yes, definitely. Cool. So they've been looking for an artist, and they thought this was a perfect opportunity to be able to tap into the community and find someone who's really interested in sort of building the next simulation game.
Sweet.
And people can get involved now. Is Proxy open, ready to go? Is it?
Yeah, so you can actually go right now to Unity Connect on the challenges page, and the Proxy contest is right on the page, and you can check it out. You can enter the contest. It'll be running for 2 months, so you have to produce 3 memories, so 3 environments which represent memories that are important to you.
Oh, nice.
What an incredible opportunity.
Cool. And in terms of other challenges, I know we've got NBC Universal on tomorrow. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes.
Tease it for us.
For sure. So NBC Universal, the NBC Universal Game Dev Challenge is actually the largest contest we've ever run. So there's $250,000 in cash prizes, and you get to work with some really amazing IP. And I won't spoil too much, and you'll learn about it soon. But essentially, it's a really big contest. You have access to some really great IP. And it's really a fantastic once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to build a really amazing game with your team.
And that's our show for today. Thank you so much for joining us at Unity at Live at GDC. And remember, if you're here at the show, there's a whole bunch of things you can do in the whole Unity world. So come down to our office. That's Unity Central. So that is 33rd Street. There's a whole bunch of talks going on. You can come and meet some of us, get some swag, hang out. There's the Unity Mix. That's at the Moscone Center. And there's even a Unity Lounge. So if you go to Hotel Zeta, you can find it on Google Maps. I'm sure you'll manage that. And we'll be back right here tomorrow for those of you watching at home. So what are we doing tomorrow, Liz?
Oh my gosh, we've got such a great show for you tomorrow. So we're going to be joined by Zunk Games, we've got Universal, we have Vuforia, and more. So please join Will and I tomorrow. We'd really like to have you with us.
And we'll see you then.
Thank you.
Bye.